Welcome to part two. Uh, all in all, do you think they really made this fight, Julian? Because they've been really struggling and been behind the door with their own numbers they've had to it. Do you think this is why TV platforms are letting uh, promoters put these sort of like mismatches up and these freakish fights and that? Do you think that's what's happening?
Definitely. I mean, we know that a couple of financial years, DAZN lost something like 750 million.
Over a billion now, isn't it?
It's crazy, yeah. So they've lost a massive amount of money. We know it's a big platform in the US, and we don't know what the subscribers are, but they have a lot of subscribers in the US. But we don't fully know what the subscribers are in the UK. But what we do know is that Eddie was going to dominate world boxing. He was going to basically take over. Well, he already had a monopoly on the UK boxing. And if you're a DAZN shareholder, private equity for owners, ultimately you want to see what return you're getting for your money. And he will have said, look, I'm going to have the unified heavyweight champion. I've got Joshua. We're going to do this. We're going to be undisputed. I've got massive rising stars. I've got Joshua Boazzi coming through. I've got all these fighters, Lawrence Okoli. I've got all these fighters coming through. I'm going to be signing Olympians. And then in the last 2 years, what we've seen is Frank Warren absolutely get a firm grip on the heavyweight division. So Big Frank's back. We've got Sky Sports and Boxer, albeit they're still a working pro, signing Olympians and, fighters who were with Matchroom jumping back over to Sky. And the monopoly that Eddie Hearn thought he was going to have, he absolutely hasn't delivered for DAZN. And now he's got probably the fourth or fifth best heavyweight in the world in Joshua. And his next biggest star is somebody who's just failed a sample of a drugs test, and his next fight's in jeopardy. So that's ultimately, he might say he's got 100 other fighters everybody wants to see. No, he hasn't. Bad position is in. How things can turn really quickly.
The legal argument, I think, you made some good points there, but the legal argument, I think, is going to be let them fight till we haven't got the B sample. We'll deal with it then after. Yeah, once they've been paid millions and spatting fans' faces. Do you know what I mean? It's what do you think to the contract negotiations where we've had this back and forth with George Warren and that on Talksport, Eddie Hearn on Talksport, but if we back up, Eddie's going on about contracts this, contracts that. Well, he'd plenty to say about the Wilder contract for Joshua, didn't he? Oh, they never sent it. They never sent it. Well, these have sent you a contract.
Yeah.
Why ain't it signed? They've had over 2 weeks. It don't take that long to go through it all. Don't forget, these are supposed to have big, high-powered lawyers from Knightsbridge on job. I don't know what is it, Michigan Del Reino or something, Michigan De Reino. All them big dogs down there. They're like 1,800 quid an hour, aren't they? They have them sort of types, don't they? Throw it like this.
So the business I work for is massive, and we have a very small legal team. I don't ever mention the business or the names, but our senior legal person doesn't mess about, and we deal with big contracts, customer contracts, intellectual property contracts. He doesn't mess about.
They have an in-house lawyer there. They will, won't they?
Yeah, doesn't mess about. Turns things around really quickly. Massively diligent. So what you've got this super team, almost like the guys who defended it. OJ Simpson. It sounds like work for Eddie Hearn. You've got these super lawyers who are amazing, and they can't just go back and forth with a few draft amendments and get those changed and get that thing sorted out. And whilst Tyson Fury's not helped himself at all, you could just see the frustration, can't you, with him? It's just like, I do my job. I'm a boxer. I get fit. I do my sparring. I get conditioned, and I get fit, and I go out there and perform. And all you guys around me, you can't even sort out a fight for me. And that's why I think Fury's been so frustrated over the years. We never know what he's going to say. Look, we know what Tyson Fury is, but you got to ask the question: were they just talking about the fight? So they're just getting the names out there. Were they really serious about the fight? And I'd hope to think that they were serious about making the fight. But what we do know, like we said earlier, we always work with what we do know. So the Fury Dillian White fight happened because formerly Eddie Hearn wasn't part of that. The Amir Khan fight and the Kell Brook fight, in years and years and years, Eddie couldn't deliver that. and Boxer delivered that as well. We've got the Clarissa Shields Marshall fight that Eddie couldn't deliver recently, and that fight's happening rescheduled. Thankfully, it's back on next week. So what I'm getting to, what's the common denominator in all of these contract failures?
Eddie Hearn.
Look at Frank Warren. Look at some of the fights he's done over.
Look at Frox Chavez. He balls that up. Frox Chavez. Then he spun a story about Cobra's elbow.
Every single time. Look at, like I say, Frank Warren has put some massive fights on. He's brought Tyson over to the UK. He's done all of these things. And, we had Bruno against Lennox Lewis. We had all these fights that got made. But for whatever reason, Eddie's involvement, and I'm not blaming him completely, by the way, definitely not. But what I'm saying again is, it's always Eddie involved. Look at, moving on slightly. If you were Joshua Buatsi right now, and you'd been pro for 6 years, you were touted as being the cream. You and Cardona were the cream of that 90.
What did Bellew say about him, Julian? He said that he's the no Andre Ward.
Yeah, 2016 cream of the
Ward and Holyfield rolled into one, he said, didn't he?
And where is he right now? They can't seem to match him with anybody, can they? If you were Joshua Buatsi and 258 management, listen, it's like we've talked about, and I think it was Barry McGuigan who talked about AJ's second loss to Usyk, and Barry actually said, I'd sack the lot of them, I'd get rid of a lot of them. Now, if I was Anthony Joshua, of course he'd be tied into contracts, and if I were Joshua Buatsi, and I were people like this whose careers, they're fighting once a year, and Joshua Buatsi is absolutely off the radar, I'd be getting rid of them all. I'd be starting fresh. I'd be saying, look, it's my career. I've only got one shot at this, right? You're worth 100 million, you mate. I want to start again. Give him a contract back. I'm only interested in fighting. But no, partly you can blame the fighters. They're seemingly happy, sat around waiting for the belts to be broken up or waiting to be mandated. But it's so disappointing right now. And what Matchroom were going to deliver when they announced the DAZN deal, this global domination, it's not there. It's not happened. And you watch Eddie Hearn get out of boxing in the next 5 years.
Well, if Joshua goes and DAZN give him a hard time, he won't be able to come back here for Sky, will they? They're not going to let him back in, are they? Now he's upset to me. I mean, they're already at it with lawyers and that, aren't they?
Wouldn't open the door for him, mate, would they?
No, would they? And quite rightly so. When Eddie were top dog, he were riding high. But what is he doing for him all? What's he doing for Shannon Courtney? What's happened to her? She's gone off radar, hasn't she?
Well, this is why you got to think about the Boxing Board of Control who have made their position clear. And then, as you've said, they set a precedent with the Rivas, Dillian White fight. Now, 2 years ago, when they set that precedent, as we said, Matchroom had an absolute monopoly on British boxing.
Not now.
That monopoly is gone now. People are no longer afraid. And people are no longer just singing to Eddie's tune. I thought it was, whatever you say about Johnny Nelson and those guys, they stuck by Sky. It could have gone all wrong for them. Sky could have not invested at all in the boxing program. But the people have options now. Fighters have options. If you turn over and you're a multinational champion like Adam Azim, you've got options. And people are going with the biggest platform, but they're also going with those who deliver the fights. And Eddie's not delivering the fights. He could say, well, I've delivered Conor Benn this week. I've delivered Chris Eubank Jr. this weekend. Well, first of all, you haven't quite done that.
Not even a belt for a belt, is it?
Not a belt. You've not delivered anything really. You've delivered a massive event. But you haven't delivered in terms of learning fights and real clear career progression.
You've not delivered for Buatsi. You didn't deliver for Callum Smith. Callum Sauerland got Callum Smith the world title, didn't he?
Well, look at Lawrence Okole. What does he think about Matchroom and Eddie Hearn?
He's no time for him, has he?
None at all.
You know what I mean? No time for him at all. But getting back to Shannon Courtney, she's fighting a bird, 5-1, who's got 8 kids. I think it's on the undercard of Eubank Ben.
Well, she won't be fighting, will she? Or she might be. She seems, every time she gets beat, she seems to have I'm not knocking her, by the way, but she seems to have a big breakdown, doesn't she? And that proves to me, and I've said this before, that social media is like a real double-edged sword, isn't it? It can make you and it can break you in a split second. And Shannon Courtney, absolutely, she's one of those people. You just want to say to her, just stay off social media. Let somebody else manage your social media account. But you know, if she does come back, if she does fight on Saturday, good luck to her. But I thought she's the world's worst loser, isn't she?
Yeah, that bird she's fighting, Shannon should blow her away. But that's because she's been mollycoddled, you see, and gifted a world title, and then they're gassed up. Yeah, gas them up, and before you know where you are, they're talking telephone numbers and they're refusing selfies. We all remember you, don't we, Shannon? Refusing selfies at your call with people, saying, "Tonight, it's not about me, it's about a person that we're fighting." And I thought, well, you're not like that when you're up at Sheffield shows and strutting about and all that. Probably just didn't want a selfie, which I can understand. You know what I mean? When you've got people forcing cameras in the faces, but don't get out your pram.
I get it, but who can forget, you know, she missed the weight by 2.5 pounds. She blamed it on being on a cycle.
What cycle was that?
Yeah, well, yeah. And I still can't forget when Shannon Courtney missed the weight and a coach said, "and still," and then she's swigging Lucasade when she could have been trying to get that 2 pound off. And then she got absolutely schooled and she stood ring center thinking, hang on a minute, I've won that fight. I just thought it was a weird moment, really. She's an unusual character. I don't personally dislike, I don't know her. But again, she's just another Matchroom gimmick, isn't she? Let's be honest, because she won a WBA belt when she got beat by Rachel Ball, and then she beat Bridges. One was number 8, one was number 9 by the WBA, and they got thrown into a world title. Well, what happened to the top 7 or top 8 ranked women in the division? Didn't they get mandated for that belt? Where were number 1 and 2?
That's why, in my opinion, the WBA is the worst organization of the lot. That's the worst one, without a shadow of a doubt.
She's about as much a world champion as that cup of tea there. What's looking at me, man? It's gone cold.
The Dripping Tap called it about Conor Benn 2 weeks ago, didn't he?
The Dripping Tap, and I pulled him up on that one because I didn't want your channel and him to get into trouble, but he nailed it. I love how he speaks, Sean. He's absolutely brilliant, and he said it. And I guess some people, he can just say, "I'll say what I like." You know, there's as you know, there's certain things I have to be careful how I phrase things for various reasons. But I loved it. We can say he kind of called it, but let's see what the B sample brings back. Let's see what the next few days events come through. But it was a really, let's just say it was a good point. It was a good point, well made.
How many other Matchroom fighters do we know that have been moving up weight divisions and have got square jaws?
Listen, I saw something again recently. It was Paulie Malignaggi, and he was just brilliant. And he was talking about the pressure for fighters to actually take banned substances, just because he says, you know, if you are fighting at the top level, they're all on it. And he says there's no way a clean athlete can beat a dirty athlete. And Malignaggi was quite brilliant, actually, of what he was saying. He won't be getting too many punditry jobs, will he, for Matchroom by saying stuff like that.
Let him go on the Matchroom. We had an argument with somebody over a selfie, didn't it? So that Frank Smith sacked him. Right,
but if you look at a guy like Paulie Malignaggi I've met is a real great guy, really chatty guy.
He's a good pundit, isn't he, Malignaggi? He's
brilliant, mate. He's absolutely brilliant. And I once, I told you, I met him over at Gleason's, New York, and we did some amateur commentary. It was a Golden Gloves, and I sat with him. We did a little half an hour. It was really good memory. Can't you remember? It was really good memory, but such a nice guy and level-headed. And he asked me if I thought he'd beat Amir Khan, and I told him that I didn't think he would. I thought Khan would beat him, and explain why I thought Khan would beat him. And you know what? He absolutely loved my honesty, and he took it on the chin, and he shook my hand, and he was like, "Thanks for being so honest." And I thought Malignaggi was, even though he talks a lot,
he was tough. He was tough then, though, wasn't he?
Look at what Cotto did to him.
Cotto wrote him off, didn't he? Was it brother or Miguel Cotto? Which one?
Miguel Cotto at the Madison Square Garden. Absolutely.
Did he fight his brother as well? I'm not sure if he fought the brothers.
I'm not sure about that, but I just remember he got his cheekbone.
It was a good fight, though, wasn't it?
was a brilliant fight, mate. He was a tough as they come, was Malignaggi, and just such a good guy. And this is the point I was saying. You're getting all these fighters coming out now saying, do you know what? This is bad. This is bad for boxing. This stinks.
Smelly, innit?
Smelly. I hope there's a reasonable explanation for this and it doesn't impact Conor Benn's career if he is innocent. And then if we do have an adverse B sample, then let justice take its course.
Yeah. Well, you were a bit disappointed, Julian, with Call's appearance on TalkSport, where he never went in on Conor Benn. He was defending him, wasn't he, and watering it all down. You know what I mean, kind of thing. Which you would do in an opponent. You'd normally be saying he's a cheat, and we want looking after if fight goes red, or we want it rescheduling, or we're out of here. We're not fighting a cheat. But we've got no, it's not a performance enhancing drug, and Conor won't do that. And it's like they're all in Conor's camp, isn't it? Just trying to feed Eubank to him to get paid.
Listen, I know it's a quite strange thing when I say, but I've said this before. I'm a celebrity, get me out of here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Celebrities clinging onto their careers and doing it for cash, eating crocodiles, bollocks, and stuff like that. People will do anything for money. Yeah. Anything. The morals get left at the door. This is most people, not everybody. A lot of good people out there. But people will do anything for money. Now, if you Calla, you're thinking, this is my biggest, I mean, he's a wealthy guy, but this is my biggest payday in boxing. This is massive. He wants that fight to go ahead. But what about the safety of Chris Eubank?
Yeah.
It just shows, doesn't it? You know, who cares about Gerald McClellan right now?
Nobody talks about him or Scott Westgarth, God rest his soul. Glenn Rhodes as fighter.
Scott Westgarth's family. Who talks about Scott Westgarth's family and his children? Who talks about them?
Who's going around to see them and putting an Easter egg in their hand every Easter? His kids.
Well, maybe he can reach out to Gareth A. Davis, because he says my phone's always there for people if they need to talk.
What, for novices or journeymen? I'm sure he'd want
no.
problems,
just for world champions who live in big houses.
Or pay-per-view fighters who've not won a belt.
Yeah. Truth hurts, mate.
Eh? Yeah.
The truth hurts, doesn't it? It stings.
To be honest with you, the gad, like, I'm having a little look this morning. You've only got to fire him out there 4 hours. He's done mega views. He's up there in Fury League after 4 hours on analytics. I couldn't believe it. The gad, and he's a strange looking fella, isn't he?
Dogs growling. The gad, he's a grafter. I'll give him that. You can see.
You've got to give him his dues. He's grafted his way into position, hasn't he?
He's up really early. He's working really late. He's done what he's had to do, and he's making a living from it. And he's loving life, isn't he? He's a happy guy. He loves what he does. We get the air guitars in the background at shows. We've had the lot, but listen, he's a character. He's Gareth A. Davis. You've got to give him that.
I spoke to Peter Fury yesterday. Huey's going to be out probably May. He's not. He's got that long COVID. He's not well.
Such a catalogue of kind of bad luck, isn't it, for Huey Fury?
Good for him. I mean, he's just turned 28, so he's been fighting since he was a kid, though, hasn't he? So if he has this break, because they train hard down there, you know, there's none of that cutting corners, and you don't get off with doing your cardio. He's on you. He's a taskmaster. I'm not saying Peter's overtraining him, but I don't know. Maybe Huey's body might be saying he needs a break, because you can train hard and want it that much. You can overtrain, can't you? But not know you're doing it.
Yeah, your body can be completely exhausted, and also you have the mental build-up where you're building up for a fight, and then it doesn't happen. Your body breaks down, and then you're building up again and again and again, and your body breaks down. And even when I wasn't boxing, when I was coaching, the big fights, you could set your watch by it. I would always be poorly myself, and I was a trainer, not the boxer. I'd be ill for a week after the big fights because you just crash. It's exhausting. So for fighters, that must be like 1,000 times more. And it's a lonely life. It's a tough sport. And when they're doing the roads and they're doing all the hard graft, it's exhausting. So I hope he recovers. I hope he doesn't go too hard on himself. And I also hope that, because he's not earning now that finances aren't a worry for him and his family.
I don't think money is a problem. I think it's more he wants him to be a world champion and wanting it that much.
It might come. His time will come. Listen, Tyson Fury took time out of the ring, didn't he? Fighters sometimes come back after layoffs, whether it's enforced or whatever. So he's 28-year-old. He ain't going to get a world title fight anytime soon anyway. So I guess it's just for him. It's just staying positive and staying focused, because it's not easy.
Pardon?
It's not easy. It's really tough for these guys.
He's had 29 fights, hasn't he? 26 and 3, and he's just turned 28. He's 31, isn't he, Fraser Clark? So it's not like it's end at world for him, is it really?
Big Joe Joyce. What is he, 38 next, isn't he?
Who's going to want to fight him?
Well, not Anthony Joshua, that's for sure.
Well, Eddie doesn't seem to mention him, does he, Joyce? Nobody's mentioning him. He's like bogeyman all of a sudden, isn't he?
It's quite funny though, wasn't it, when Eddie turned around and said, I heard him say, well, why doesn't he put Joe Joyce in with Fury then? You know, people, why don't he put his own guys in together? That's an easy fight to make. And I'm thinking, yeah, because you make all the easy fights, don't you, Eddie?
Yeah. Where do you see Dylan White's role in all this and Daniel Dubois? Do you think they'll fight, Julian?
Don't know about that one. It'd be an exciting fight, wouldn't it? I mean, if they did fight each other, it'd be an exciting fight. Probably the right time right now for both of them. It'll test out Dillian White's focus. Let's see what if he really wants it now after having a £5-6 million payday. And it'll also tell us, you know, is Dubois ready to step up half a level? Because people might say, well, it's not half a level step up. It definitely is after that joker he knocked out for his interim belt or whatever it was, Judy Bryant, whatever she was called. It's definitely a step up for him, but let's just see.
Trevor Bryant.
I call him Judy Bryant. Remember that big overweight girl on Prisoner Cell Block H? Because that's what it looked like to me, that Trevor Bryant. He just looked like
B. Smith's best mate.
B. Smith's best mate, Judy Bryant. That shows how I used to spend my late nights at 3 o'clock in the morning, mate, doesn't it?
Queen Bee of the wing.
Queen Bee with the press, mate. I absolutely loved it. It's embarrassing, I know. You give Kent some stick, mate, but Prisoner Cell Block H, it's a guilty pleasure of mine.
Kent's had helmet votes.
Kent, has he?
Yeah, 19.
Is this for his Ninja Turtle?
It's for that and for him.
Activities.
For his Adam Wolf impression. Poor Kent, he always cops it, doesn't he?
I'll tell you though, he's a genuine guy, mate, isn't he?
Leave Kent alone, all you trolls on the side. Just give me loads of stick. I can take it. Leave
me alone. Give my stick to Russell as well. Leave me alone.
Give me loads of stick.
You've got broad shoulders, mate. You can take it.
Give me loads of stick, because all I do is go make people feel sorry for me. Give me t-shirts, free t-shirts. Nathan Gorman, I like his skill set. I've heard he's knocking weight off. Can he win a British?
Yeah, and I think that should be his aspiration. I think that's always the problem, isn't it? People want to skip British, be one in the world mix because they make a hell of a lot of money.
Really skilled, isn't he?
He's got a load of skills. He could be a good fight with Fabio Worsley. Just jump in the mix, fight for Lonsdale belt, and see if you can get one out right, Nathan. And that'd be a fantastic career, mate.
You know him at 17 stone, he'd be all right, wouldn't he?
He's got good hands. He's got good combination punching, and he's also got
doesn't he?
He's got
not a big balance.
Head. Yeah, he does. He's not.
Comes on well, doesn't he?
I like him. I don't think he's ever going to be remotely world class. But can everybody be world class? Not everybody can be world class.
You mean like Lennox Lewis, Tyson Fury type class?
Yeah, he's never going to get to that. You know,
I could see him getting up to Dylan White's level. Could you?
Listen. Just because he's been beat by Dubois, so what? Two prospects went against each other. One lost, one won.
Groves and DeGale went against each other, still won world titles.
It's not the end of the world, mate, is it? But yeah, if I was him, I would absolutely firmly focus on the British title.
Yeah. All right. Do you want to finish off on what next for Dave Allen? Where he's fighting on November 19th on a Dennis show.
I think Dave Allen needs to just keep active, keep busy, keep in the gym. That is his own worst enemy is Dave Allen, isn't it? He'll be the first person to tell you that.
You feel though that looking at you feel that looking at this from outside, this drug situation, and how they're all protecting him, and he's been wrapped in cotton wool, Conor Ben, and that. Dave Allen, when he went to Eddie Hearn, he was undefeated, wasn't he? He never had a defeat, and he undefeated him when he had 10 fights, 9 fights, or something. Why weren't he shown this? Because he didn't have a big amateur career, same amount of fights as Conor, and he's an heavyweight. Why weren't Dave Allen shown the same respect as Conor Ben? That's all I want to know.
I'll tell you why.
Why?
Because he's not a beautiful Essex boy, is he? All these Essex boys who stick together and love each other and they're all best mates. Dave
Conor
Allen.
Ben's bought an house on Eddie Hearn Street, hasn't he? Do you know what I mean?
Say no more.
Hey?
But he does have a great taste in cars. I'll give Conor Ben that.
Got some nice cars on there.
He's got some beautiful cars, and
I didn't like the heated seats comment because it's like people never had heated seats in their life. The heated seats have been out since the 70s, haven't they?
Yeah, it's no big deal having heated seats in golf TDIs and all kinds of things. It's no
Got
big.
a Range Rover, bro. Got a heated seat. Well, I had an XR3 years ago. Heated seat. On a first XR3, it wasn't even high. It was X-Reg one, twin choke one.
Oh, I remember them, mate. Yeah,
the red Pico on it, and it sounded very meaty. Oh, well, I thought if I seen it now, I'd say, look at that pea shooter.
Same as you, mate. I had a Fiesta RS Turbo. I absolutely loved it. I had a Mark 1 XR2 back in the day. I like my hot hatches, and I've still got
Mark 1 4-speed.
Yep.
That was
86 brake horsepower.
96. It was XR2.
I think that was Mark 2.
CVH one.
Yeah, I had the. It was an X-Reg or
the very first one, because they had a Super Sport out at that time, didn't they? A 14 Super Sport. If you couldn't afford the XR2, the first.
That's right. Mine was an A-Reg. I've just remembered it was an A-Reg. It was a few year old when I bought it. I got it in.
With round spotlight up front.
Yeah, it was modified. It had a few Jam Speed exhaust, silver XR2, body kit, mate, pepper pot alloys.
Oh,
white dials.
Pepper pots on his.
Oh.
Cobra, yours was just a 14 Sport, like want the real XR2.
Is that what he had? Is that what Carl
had? He had a 14 Sport, didn't he, when he used to smoke green?
I was just going to say, if that's what he had, a 14 Sport, he'd get some right cash for it now, but he doesn't need it anyway.
Oh my God, they're 15 bags.
Crazy, mate, crazy.
15 bags, mate. My mate, Scott Thorpe from Edlow, he did, I forgot how much, it was about 40 bags, something like that, he did for a Mark 1. He had it built, a Mark 1 Escort, Mexico, with a Cosio in it. About 40 bags he did for that. They're doing.
See him now, pristine Mark 1 and 2, anywhere between 60 and 80 grand. They're going for an absolute fortune, mate. I still go to Doncaster every year. Go to RS National Show every year at
Racecourse.
Donington Park. Yeah, I still go to that. I had an RS Focus, as you know. I've had all kinds of RSs, and my brother has. We still love them, mate.
You like them? Did you used to get streetcar and that back in the day, Julian? Your petrol head.
I were in Fast Forward.
Fast Forward. Oh, Julian, you anorak. You worse than
me and our kid were in Fast Forward. We used to go to Well Lane Turbo Centre.
Oh, because you're in the, well, they used to do Cosy turbos, didn't they?
Well, they used to do.
And they put a sticker on the lid, wouldn't they?
Yeah. Well, they used to do rolling road burnouts, and our kid had a Escort RS Turbo. I had a Fiesta RS Turbo. We were in Fast Forward and stuff. And Billy Howie, who had Well Lane Turbo Centre, listen, I know we've gone off piece, but it doesn't matter, mate. Those were great times, and I've had absolutely all sorts, mate. If I'm honest, the first XR2 I had, it were a right rust bucket, if I'm being honest. Yeah, it was a shitter, mate.
Yeah, but you don't think that. I had a Mark 2 Escort. I thought it was dog's nuts, my first car, but it held together by Amorite.
I would say I used to underseal it and stuff, and rotten floorboards up lot, mate.
What can you do? XR3, I just put your foot down on it, and water used to trickle down, from inner wing. So what you had to do, you had to get silicon and make like a trough, like to channel it, so it won't come down and go down on it. I had the same problem with Mark 5 Cortina, 2 litre GL.
I was a proper boy racer. My brother I got into cars when I was younger because my brother had Capri's. He had a John Player Special 2 litre.
In black and gold.
Yeah. And then he had a white automatic 3 litre. Right motors, mate.
3 litre Capri gear auto.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
And they're getting a bit nostalgic there.
Anyone listening
For
be
a Capri
thinking,
now, eh?
listen, it's a bit of light-hearted conversation after the
Yeah.
crap what I've had to put up with, mate, innit?
It is. But listen, Julian, I know you've got appointments on, and we did say till 1:30. Thanks for coming on. You've been a real tonic. I hope you're well. I hope
Always
the
good,
fight
mate.
doesn't happen, that you'll find something to do this weekend that's a bit more constructive.
I'll walk the dog or paint the landing. I'll do something, mate.
Still painting.
I'm living the dream, you know. I've got the best life, haven't I? Bloody wallpaper and painting.
Listen, mate, there's a lot of people worse off than us, and some people aren't made it, aren't they, with this COVID?
Yeah, exactly. We're doing all right, mate. We're doing
And
absolutely
look
fine.
at Conor Ben and Eubank. They're that close to 4 million plus. Well, they're guaranteed that, aren't they? Upside could be 5, I'm hearing. They're that close to it. And do you know what? Stupidity could cost them all. And do you know what? Let me tell you this. If the show does get pulled, I guarantee you, whatever Eddie loses on it, they'll be paying back in installments down the line, but they'll not know it.
Yeah, definitely. They ain't getting away with that. As you said, there'll be no insurance policy for failed drugs tests, mate.
I know.
It's like smashing your car up if you've been drinking. You ain't getting paid out. Simple as.
No, you're fucked. No. All right then, mate. You take
Okay,
care.
pal.
Cheers,
Thank
mate.
you, everybody.
Bye. Bye.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers, pal. Well, that was Julian. Nice to have a little chat about the situation that's been dominating the news. I hope these videos go straight out. I don't know what's going on at the moment. As soon as I've done them and I put them to go out, they're refusing to go out. They're holding them back to clear them. So that's what you're up against. So it's just a little obstacle that we have to overcome. Okie dokie. That's about it. Peace out.